Hello and welcome to the Dogfight, a podcast dedicated to the London Spitfire and Overwatch League. Fasten your seatbelts and observe the no smoking sign because today we'll be discussing London's first matches of the new stage and what they need to work on and what's going to happen next week. I'm Havok and I'm with Zoey. Yay, Zoey.
Hello?
How's it going? Did you watch the sadness?
I unfortunately did, and I watched most of the sadness this week.
Down with the sadness.
Yeah, it's rough.
Well, sadness has been the gift that has been given to me, so let's jump right in. I'm really proud of that segue.
Yeah, that was actually really good.
Thank you. No one can take it away from me. So,
Alrighty.
the Houston Outlaws and the NYXL played our boys, and the boys lost. Houston Outlaws. I'm sorry. The Houston Outlaws match was close, it being 2-3, and then losing on control as they do, and then NYXL was just a disgusting steamroll.
I mean, we put up a fight against Houston. It didn't even seem like we put up a fight for half of it against NYXL.
I think I didn't get to watch the Houston game mostly because of how late it was. I feel though
it was an alright game.
Yeah. Run it down for me.
So it was pretty good. I could say I think I remember Blizzard World being fairly close, but then pretty much just but that was when Houston started getting control, and I can really point to Fury though. Fury did an excellent job throughout the entirety of the game.
Oh, that's good. For some reason, I always have trouble with deciding on who the better diva is. Like, whenever Fury underperforms, I go, okay, well, Wuhyal is clearly the better diva. But then Fury does something good, or Wuhyal underperforms, and I go, why are you not playing Fury? Fury is clearly the superior one.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that.
It's very difficult.
So yeah, but it just seemed like Houston were just sort of hanging on and ready to put up a fight, and they certainly did.
I mean, I think the issue is that Houston plays a style that does not agree with London, and London has said, okay, we see what we're doing. We're not going to change anything on our end. We're just going to hope that it works this time. And so far it hasn't. And that's what really bugs me, is that, this is stage 3. We're halfway through the first season. And I just haven't seen that much improvement from the team. And
absolutely,
it's just bugging me.
Yeah, it feels like, it's just sort of, we're just sort of stuck in this sort of limbo where it's like, okay, stage 1 was cool and all, but the meta's sort of gone in a completely other direction, and we haven't really evolved to that yet, and which is really frustrating to me, especially.
Yeah, I think having one tank player or main tank player, I think definitely hurts, because main tanks, at least from what I understand, are the ones that really dictate the pace of the game and how the team plays and all of that. And when you only have Gesture's just going to play one way. And
yeah, I mean, Gesture's like cool and all. I mean,
he's super
really
good.
Great tank,
I don't want to say he's bad. He's super good.
Yeah, but like, just only having one really is certainly a handicap on the team.
I hope that Tizzy gets a lot of practice and we can see him soon. I really want to see what Tizzy can do.
Oh yes, Tizzy will be. I think I've seen this guy in Korea for a long time. I think this dude is going to be ace when he comes over here in Overwatch League.
Well, hopefully that's some good news. But I think moving on to the New York XL map, I think, what was your opinion again, that we didn't look like we tried like half the time?
Yeah, we didn't look like we tried about half the time.
I disagree. I think we tried. I think the issue is that once we started to lose, we sort of gave up on trying to think around what New York wanted to do, and we were just like, all right, we'll just try what we've always been trying. And
Yeah,
what they were
because
trying wasn't working, and then they just kind of quit thinking, or they got so tilted where I assume that you've been there, Zoe, where you're playing and you're losing a lot. You're losing
yes.
the SR, and you just can't play better, and you keep going because I gotta win at least one.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
There's 100 points that I'll never get back.
Yeah, they did not want to adapt at all. That's one thing I'm just looking through, especially through looking back through like the fight timelines and all. Especially on like certain areas, there was like either the switches are either too frequent or so stale that you can pretty easily develop a comp around it. For the other side, I think there was one bit of this map where no one changed at all, and then there was one bit of this other map that had like 6 or 7 hero changes in one attack. So
I think also I have to kind of wag my finger at the lack of Sombra. I think Prophet only played Sombra on Anubis.
We had Sombra.
And he messed up
twice,
the EMP. He messed up the EMP.
And he didn't do. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There was Sombra. There was Sombra a few times, but he just really didn't seem to do well on it at all. And I can really say Prophet was one of the lower points in the entirety of that match.
I mean, I guess make an excuse for the Spitfire. They did just come back from Korea. They went on a little vacay. Get themselves rested up from the tiresome grind of Dead Overwatch League. I guess you
have a million hours of jet lag.
Yeah, but... I mean, we can make excuses for that, but I think at the same time, there can't be excuses when you play kind of this poorly.
At this level, yeah.
And the team even made a post on Twitter saying, like, look, we messed up in week 1. We're aware of this. We don't find it acceptable. We're going to try really hard to come back for the later weeks and show you guys what's what.
What? And I think it shouldn't be too much of a problem in the later weeks, but and especially I'm looking forward to seeing what Tizzy does in the near future. But as of right now, if this sort of thing continues, I'm really worried about how Spitfire will do. I mean, they'll certainly make the playoffs, but how far will they go? How far in the regular season will they just continue this sort of bearish trend? And it's worrying me quite a bit, even though this is only week 1 and I know that they've just come back from vacation. It still very much worries me.
Oh, I completely agree. I think that if this trend continues, they will not be able to win playoffs, like the actual playoffs, not just a stupid stage playoff, like actual playoffs, because you're going to be having to face New York XL eventually. If you can't beat them here, and if you really struggle to beat them whenever you face them, or in this case you just get rolled by them, you're not going to get very far. I mean, you have to start beating top teams. I'm not sure if we consider Seoul a top team.
Yeah, I would consider Seoul kind of semi-top team.
It's weird because we keep beating them, and they keep having these low points when they shouldn't. Yeah. Kind of similar to London, actually.
I mean, I don't really have anything else to add to that. It's just a bit disappointing to see that we, bottom out and now are 0-2 in this in week 1, and now we're all of a sudden in this situation where we're like, okay, what the hell do we do to continue to hopefully reverse that trend in week 2 and week 3?
Yeah.
Especially when you've got a tough match. Especially when you've got 2 tough matches in in the coming weeks. So yeah, it's just I'm fairly worried, and also I should be, as I said a million times by this point.
I mean, I'm not going to discredit your worry, but I think the good news is, I guess, if there's a final silver lining in this discussion that we can pull out, we have already faced Houston Outlaws and NYXL. We don't have to worry about them anymore, at least until stage
Yeah.
playoffs. The hard part is out of the way. It's like a band-aid, you rip it off. Now, hopefully, we can go on.
There's still a small sort of factor of uncertainty for me.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a
And
bit.
that is the rest of the teams, like Valiant, Fusion, even Shock at this point. That's like, okay, these are like huge wild cards that could potentially throw off a otherwise good stage at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we touch on that a bit, let's talk about what London really needs to improve. Now, I have broken down probably just 3 easy points that I think are the main troubles that London Spitfire are facing and how they can fix it. So the first is consistency. London, and this is kind of a thing for a lot of Cloud9 teams, if you notice this trend, but London does not have good consistency. They are either up or down on any given day. Anytime they hit the stage, it's mostly, what kind of London are you going to get? Are you going to get the one that hits prepared exuberantly for the opponent that they're about to face, or are they going to go in and think that they can beat you just because they are a group of Korean players and just know that they're better?
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to lock that down. They need to just stop messing around, start treating just everyone seriously, practice hard, and for God's sakes, get some consistency.
Absolutely, consistency is a huge problem, especially especially when we got out of stage 1 and where we were just sort of dominant, and now we've just sort of been all over the place since the beginning of stage 2. This really cannot continue for much longer. Otherwise, this significantly, this really does not do well for our chances to do well in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you have to be consistent. Birdring is super good. Probably one of the best DPSs in the league, but he's not consistent. Sometimes he's great. Other times he's losing Widow duels. He is sporadically switching to try to find some answer. And, sometimes he's just not on point.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing I've seen for a while now. It's like Birdring, Prophet, especially those two players really have been having consistency issues. Like, sometimes they're the best players in the match and they are well deserving of an MVP, while other times they're just down near the bottom, and it would be much better if, honestly, they subbed them off.
But they can't because they only have 1 DPS. London did not sign a second high-tier, consistent DPS that they can maybe swap out, which is something that we will probably nag them about coming to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, the second thing I think they need to work on is positioning. The team as a whole, but I also think people specifically. So I think the supports, they need to work on that. They are constantly getting separated from just everyone. DPS are over there. Supports are on the other side, and Gesture is just jumping in too deep to where they can't follow. Everyone is so spread out that, maximum healing cannot be done. I feel that sometimes they just can't execute what they want to execute because everyone's just so spread out, and it just makes it so much harder to do what they want to do. And
Nus can't do his job. Closer can't do his job. If everyone is spread out over like such a huge amount of space, it's like as you said, absolutely no support can do their job. And I've seen, I've seen this sort of thing, noticed something similar over the past, especially in the past few matches. It's gotten semi-bad.
Yeah, I just feel that there's a big disconnect between the front line and the back line.
Oh,
Like the
absolutely.
front
There's
line
no
wants
doubt
to do
about that.
one thing, like Jester's like, I'm gonna dive so far up their ass that they're not gonna know what hit them, and Wuhyal or Fury is over to the side, either trying to get a pick or do something, and then the healers are like, wait guys, we can't keep up with you, and then Gesture gets picked off early because he gets too deep and he gets overzealous, and then the diva dies because you don't have the main tank to distract anybody, and then the DPS dies, or then you, the support, dies because you're positioning really badly, or you're just in a room with the Zenyatta for no reason. So
It's
it's definitely, they need to work on communication and coordination. I don't know how, but they just need to definitely realize that this is a problem and then go about fixing it. This has happened for the past, if you're counting last week as 3 stages, this has been going on for 3 stages, and there hasn't really seemed to be any change in it.
yeah, goodness, it's just one thing that I've also, and a lot of people have noticed, including myself, is that haven't really seemed to be, we haven't really seemed to be, especially changing with those sort of flaws. We've just had those flaws since stage one and have not been addressing them, and it's just been leaving everybody key to exploit it. And so it's like, yeah, no wonder we got crushed.
Yeah, and I think this leads to our final point, and that is morale. So when a play doesn't go right, something is off. Maybe Bergring loses a Widow duel. Maybe someone loses a Tracer duel. Maybe a dive doesn't work out, and you have to reset after having significant losses. The team loses confidence. They don't play as well as they did in that opening play because the play didn't work out. So now we can't try it again. Well, what do we do now? We don't know. So then they start doubting themselves skill-wise, and if these mistakes and misplays keep happening at compounds, and then they just don't think and play as confidently as they would have at the beginning if that play had worked out like it was supposed to.
This is, yeah, it's not necessarily. I mean, I've seen this much worse, Dallas Fuel, but certainly London has a bit of a problem with that because it just seems like when you first start, because it seems like especially I remember, I think it was Junkertown or another map somewhere. We had a good first push, but then the rest of it just did not work at all. It might not be Junkertown, I don't know, but it was where we had a good first attack and then we pretty much just got held, which resulted in just the other team effectively just, which I think it was in YXL, getting just easily stomping us through the defense, through their offense and getting the win. I apologize for stuttering so much during that.
Nah, that's fine. But yeah, I think that, there are probably other points, but I think these are the three biggest that the Spitfire need to focus on currently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they need to focus much on skill. They're already extremely skilled. GC Busan won the Apex season, and the Kongju Pantera leftovers are...
I would not doubt their skill at all, because they are quite clearly an immensely talented group, but
I think it's more of the mental thing that they need to work on.
Doesn't seem like they're playing up to their full potential.
And I think that something that may help in the AMA for Susie Kim, London's new general manager, she stated that fans should keep an eye out because there will be an announcement soonish about picking up a new coach. So it was kind of vague. There wasn't a lot of explanation on if it was a new head coach, if it was a new assistant coach, and then I would assume Coach Chang would move up to the head coach position.
Yeah, I'd assume Chang.
Yeah, he seems to be the leader since Bishop left.
I've not really got much. I've not really got a whole lot of speculation on who it could be.
I have no idea.
You just might as well wait and see, because I'm I'm decently excited about finding out who this mysterious head coach is.
Exactly. I am.
He might not even be a head coach, he's just a coach.
Yeah, let's just say coach for now, because.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump to
Yeah,
conclusions.
let's not
It's
jump to
not going to
anything.
be.
But I guess
I spoilers. Yes, I've. All right.
Yeah, but I guess some good news before we do transition to our last little topic. The British Hurricanes did win another pretty dominant 4-0. They crushed That's a Disband, and it's real. I think they secure their spot for contenders playoffs. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, we have. Okay, good. But yeah, it seems like the British
think-
Hurricanes are just the team.
Yeah, we've got our
to
number
beat.
1 seed for the playoffs, which is quite good, and we should especially because I remember having a lot of initial doubts about this team, but they've really proven me wrong. And especially in this group, in this already tough Group A, I'm so glad to see them get that first seed.
Yeah, me too. I think they're definitely putting in the time and they're putting in the effort to really show themselves, and I think also, more importantly, the European fan base of Overwatch, that there are still a lot of really skilled, really talented players in Europe that you can definitely use to pick up for a team.
Absolutely. There's
Either it be in like the European expansion that I would suppose comes next season, or
I'm thinking next season as well.
yeah, so I think that they're all playing really good. They all have phenomenal synergy with each other. They seem to play really well as a team, and I'm just super happy that they're able to have this much, success in their first season.
Yeah, there's absolutely no denying that this sort of new wave of European teams, and especially British Hurricane, is very, very promising for the European scene as a whole, which I've been keeping my eye on for a long time now, but now I'm finally starting to see that a lot of this talent is OWL worthy, and LA Valiant knows this because I think they recently picked up Fincy from Orglis in Hungary, and of course, Cruz headed over to North America as well. So we might see more of these players in the Overwatch League in the future, and I certainly hope so.
Oh yeah, for sure. I always am for big new talent regardless of where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
But let's wrap it up and move on to our final talking point, which is the match preview for this week. Thursday, April 12th, we play the Florida Mayhem, and Saturday, April 14th, we play the Philly Fusion. So, I think...
Okay.
well, I'm sorry, go with...
Oh, no, you continue.
Okay, well, I was just going to say that the Mayhem will probably be an easy gimme. They're still trying to mesh with Awesome Guy and Saya Player, and they seem to still be kind of struggling. But
I mean, honestly, Saya Player and Awesome Guy are two absolutely amazing players. I've watched them for a long time now at this point, but they really still seem to be in that phase where they're still meshing with Awesome Guy and Saya Player. Even though they're two amazing players, I don't think they can especially carry the team on their back, and the inevitable sort of language disparities and things like that, which we've seen already. So I think it should be an easy win.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see London just fielding the B team so that the A team can...
Yeah, there's no point in fielding the A team at this point.
Yeah, why get Birdring all tired and worn out playing Mayhem when you have Fusion around the corner? My only real worry is that can the B team display a level of skill that fans have kind of been looking for? When we see the B team, we see that they're really shaky. I remember last time we played Florida with our B team, it was kind of a close win. Like, It was 3-1, but that was because we barely were able to beat them
Yeah, the
on Route
3-1 certainly
66.
didn't tell the whole story. That's what I guess, and I'm also kind of worried about the B squad, because especially against Florida, they've seemed very, very shaky indeed. And Florida, I think, if I remember correctly, especially last stage, had a few upsets on them too. So I wouldn't probably take them the most seriously as a threat, but I'd probably still field the B team, but I would just keep my eye out.
Yeah, I think that they'll definitely need to be sharp. But the Philly Fusion's probably the match to watch because Carpe and Snillo, oh my god, they're so good, and I am afraid.
Yeah, absolutely, and you should be. Just everybody on Philly right now is absolutely phenomenal, no doubt about it.
And the thing is, they didn't look that impressive when they first started playing. Like Carpe Carpe did all right, but he wasn't like playing at this level.
It was so weird to me because like I already knew most of these guys from, or at least knew some of these guys from FaZe Clan, and saw their just the immense level of talent they had, and I remember distinctly not seeing that in them for a while, but now it seems like we've got that sort of level of talent back from them, and oh boy, are they a threat for uh, this stage, because goodness gracious, they are so strong right now.
So strong. I think that whatever is in their water or in that treehouse, it seems to be working because everyone on the Fusion just seems to be connected with each other. Like, who was their main tank player again? Is it Craggy? No, Fraggy.
I think it was.
I think it's Fraggy.
Yeah, it'd probably be Fraggy.
Yes, Fraggy.
Or Poco.
No, it's Fraggy. Poco is off tank.
It'd be Fraggy for sure.
But Fraggy just seems to be leading this team, and he has like an amazing little assortment of insane DPS players. The support players are keeping everyone alive and doing their jobs pretty well. And Philly has, they have atomic batteries to power, I suppose, and are looking extremely strong now.
Yeah, Philly are just looking amazingly strong at this point, and I'm frankly worried that if we don't do this right, we could lose this game.
Oh, for sure. I think that if we get the Spitfire that is unsure of what to do and running around and kind of not together, they will lose. We need to have the Spitfire that wakes up.
I'm hoping we have an organized, proper Spitfire. Not the Spitfire we saw at the beginning of this stage that was worn out, quite clearly tired, and just extremely disorganized. I just hope we have the other Spitfire going into that particularly difficult match.
I agree, and I think that they're going to be looking to shut down Carpe and Snello, I think. You have to somehow...
Yes, yeah, both of them are just huge threats right now.
I mean, you have to somehow take Carpe's Widow threat away. You have to somehow take Snello's Tracer out of the equation. And even then, there are other DPS heroes that these guys can play. And you're just going to have to somehow either go through them or work around them in a way that can still have players like Birdring and Prophet and Bedosin and Gesture all playing at the peak performance level that we expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, it is just this will not be an easy task for anybody. If we've lost to Houston like this, I'm not expecting this to be anywhere similar to Houston, but if we lost to Houston, we are more than capable of losing to Philly, and that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, same. But I can't think of
But I am,
anything else to say. Do you have
well,
any
I'm
final
just gonna say
thoughts?
that I am hoping for the best. Especially when it comes to that match. I mean, I'm not really worried about Florida. I frankly don't even need to watch that match. But
Well, what are your predictions for
yeah,
this
if you
weekend?
haven't really got anything else to say.
What are your predictions for this weekend?
Oh, you cut out. Sorry.
What are your predictions for this weekend?
My predictions for this weekend should probably be. I'm hoping London. This is pretty. I'm gonna say London goes over Florida. I'm gonna say 4-0. And I'm gonna say London goes to full 5 maps against Philly. I'm gonna go. I'm just I'm kind of iffy at the moment. I'm gonna say 3-2. London takes the victory.
All right. Well, for Florida, I'm gonna have to say 3-1. There's a control map there. I have no idea what London plans to do for control anymore. I just assume it's a loss at this point.
It could be 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 sounds safer.
And as for Fusion, I kind of have to go with Fusion. London is proved.
Yeah, I mean,
London has
honestly,
proved inconsistent, and their mental seems to just go boom when things don't go their way. Meanwhile, Philly seems to be the more put together, more consistent team. And until Spitfire can prove me wrong against other top teams like this, I'm gonna have to go against them. I don't want to. I have to do it out of necessity.
I'm just I'm just gritting my teeth. I just gritting my teeth and saying 3-2 London, and because I'm hoping that's what's gonna happen, and it might not. I don't think it will, but I am hoping. I but I'm hoping, and I know this squad has the potential to.
Well, hopefully after last week, it will be the kick in the pants they need to prepare and play to the best of their abilities.
Absolutely.
But
And I mean, they should be.
yes,
They should be ready for this kind of stuff. Now that they've, sort of been back in the States for a while and back in, and, now started slowly starting getting in the groove of things, back to the sort of normal schedule that they were on. Now, I think, I think now is just the time to bust ass and work.
I agree. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight. So please put your tray tables up and return your seats to their full upright positions because we're coming in for a landing. So thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope to see you in the skies real soon. Goodbye.
Hmm?